Jerusalem. The city is located on the plateau of Mount Jodayan, between the Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea in the Middle East. It is one of the oldest cities in the world. The city of Jerusalem is very significant and important to some religions. These include Abrahamic Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, due to which it is also considered as a holy city. Some of the holiest sites of these religions are found in Jerusalem, and the place where the three religions are divided is Haram al-Sharif. In today's episode, we will talk about Jerusalem, a place sacred to all three religions. Stay tuned. The first settlements were established in Jerusalem between 4500 3500 BC. As a combination of the Arabic word salam and the Hebrew shalim, it was named Jerusalemam in 2000 BC. Then between 1550 and 1400 BC, the then king of Egypt annexed Jerusalem to the Egyptian Empire and expanded the empire to the Mediterranean. As the Egyptian rulers gradually lost power, demands for independence arose from various parts of the empire. According to biblical descriptions, Jerusalem was then known as Zebus, and its inhabitants as Jebusius. According to another biblical account, King David or David A, in the 11th century BC, before its conquest of Jerusalem, the city was home to the Jebusians. Later, his son Suleiman A expanded the city walls. In the 8th century, that is in 638, Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab. During its rule, the Muslims conquered Jerusalem and annexed it to the Muslim Empire. He was contracted to provide security to the residents of the city. Umar visited the Church of the Holy Sepulchre and sat in the courtyard, said Patriarch Eutychus of Alexandria. When it is time for prayer, he goes out of the church and prays so that no one will later use the reason for his prayer to convert this church into a mosque. During the First Crusade in 1099, European Christian armies occupied Jerusalem, and 6 years later, on 2nd October 116, it was under their control until it was conquered by Sultan Saladin Ayyubi. In 1219, Sultan Muazzim of Damascus destroyed the city walls. According to the treaty with Egypt in 1243, Jerusalem was captured by Frederick II of Germany. In 1239, he rebuilt the walls, but the Emir of Kerak destroyed them. In 1243, Jerusalem was recaptured by the Christians, and the walls were repaired. But in 1244, the Tatars captured the city, and Sultan Malik demolished the city wall. In 1517, the Ottoman Caliph Yavuz Sultan Selim Quds was included in the Ottoman Caliphate. On November 2, 1918, Palestine was annexed by the British during the Ottoman Caliphate through the declaration of Lord Belfort, the British Foreign Secretary. Although Jerusalem has been a sacred place of worship for so long, it has not been recognized as a capital. The British recognized that, and with that begins the context of the new conflict. On one side of that conflict is the Palestinians, the landlords of this city. Jews, on the other hand. When anti-Semitism spread across Europe, Jewish refugees flocked in droves to Palestine, especially to Jerusalem. From 1517 onwards, there was an existential crisis for the Palestinians under Muslim Ottoman rule. The exact opposite effect was observed among the Jews. The desire to create a separate country for themselves continues to grow. But behind this aspiration, nationalism was more evident than religion. The field of conflict between the Palestinians and these Jews from Russia and Eastern Europe is getting longer and longer. The Palestinians created their own nationalism, which was led by prominent Palestinian families. One right after another started bloodshed. As the situation gradually spiraled out of control, the British administration banned Jews from entering Palestine in 1939. Because of these restrictions, many Jews could not come to Palestine for asylum during World War II. In 1947, war broke out between the two sides. To solve the problem, the UN decided to divide Palestine into two parts. The Jews will get one part, the Arab Palestinians the other part. And Jerusalem will have a special status. He will not be a part of any part. An international authority will take care of it. The Arabs refused to accept the plan. The next day, the Jews declared their territory as an independent state. They occupied the western part of Jerusalem. The eastern part, including the old part of the city, is occupied by Jordan on behalf of the Palestinians. Millions of Palestinians are homeless. With the withdrawal of British troops in 1948, the State of Israel was established on May 14th of that year under the leadership of David Ben-Gurion, and Israel occupied West Jerusalem. For several days after that, there was not much demand from both sides for the right to Jerusalem. Jordan's ruler, King Abdullah Fath, was too busy to move his capital from Jerusalem to Amman. On the other hand, under international pressure, the Israeli rulers did not show the same interest in Jerusalem. Instead, cities like Tel Aviv, Haifa, Ascalon were busy developing. Among the rulers of the first 2 decades of Israel, the number and influence of the leaders who believed in socialism was greater. These leaders understood that it was difficult to maintain authority, even if it gained control of Jerusalem or made it its capital. The international community also forgot about Jerusalem and started opening embassies in Tel Aviv. However, the Arab-Israeli conflict continues. The situation took a turn for the worse in June 1986. The then ruler of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stopped the passage of Israeli ships through the Tiran Strait. Troops gather on the Egypt-Israel border. Nasser's intention was to intimidate, but all of a sudden Israel turned things upside down. In that attack, Nasser's entire air force was virtually destroyed. Israel also started land wars in Gaza and Sinai. Egypt lost its way in this surprise attack. Syria and Jordan are also at war with Nasser, but by then it was too late. At the end of the Six-Day War, Israel occupied Gaza and Sinai from Egypt, the West Bank, and the Golan Heights from Syria. At that moment, they finally captured East Jerusalem. On December 6, 2016, the United States recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In protest, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, OIC, called an immediate emergency meeting and declared East Jerusalem the capital of Palestine on 13 December. As a result, Jerusalem has now become one of the focal points of the crisis in the two states, the Middle East. The crisis has been exacerbated by the United States' recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital.